Now let's just record it. Okay, let's just make a start. Sorry, folks, we're not quite sure what's happening with the technicalities here today, but we're going to record this session and then you can watch this back later on. So, hello, everybody. My name's Min from Nobody Studios Idealab, and it's your weekly show where we talk about amazing ideas that have come into the Idealab. And today I have a very special guest. And we're going to be discussing the idea that she has presented to the Idealab. And hey, oh my God, we have someone on the line. Sorry about that, Caesar. We were having some technical problems, but we're back. We never give up. This is what Startup World is all about. You have these challenges, but you never give up. You just say, okay, right, we can do this. And that's what we're doing. So that's given me a bit of confidence that it's just not me and Ria on this live channel. So if everyone wants to kind of chime in and be interactive as we go through this, and if this is your first time listening to one of these live streams, then the way we typically go is we discuss new ideas, we kind of get audience participation going. So feel free to say where you're from and what you think of those ideas. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my very special guests today. Welcome, Ria. And look at that. Look at this. It's like we're on TV on like Sky News or something.
Hi, Min. Thanks for having me. And thanks to the Octopus Movement for endorsing me.
No, absolute pleasure. It must have been late last year when we first were introduced to each other when we did the Octopus Movement Nobody Studios live stream for the first time. And we've kept in touch ever since. And with yourself, with various other members of the movement, and obviously with Perry, who hopefully will come and join us again shortly, who I think I speak to on most days. So for the audience, Ria, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and your passion for ideas?
Hi. Well, I'm Ria Sangabriel from the Philippines. I'm a startup enthusiast, an artist, and a catalyst in the women in tech space. So throughout my career, it's very nonlinear. I had a degree in psychology, but then I took a job at a tech company, taught golf to kids, um, became an events planner for diplomats, did humanitarian communications for a nonprofit organization, became an online course designer, a Lego Series Place facilitator, a gender consultant, a headhunter, and many more. So I feel like I'm trying to really get into my interests and try to see how I can make an intersection in all of them. So yeah, having worn several different hats in different industries, doing different roles, I am able to connect the dots and make unconventional connections work. So I thought that really helps in terms of coming up with good ideas and being able to see different perspectives on how we can find solutions to things.
That's amazing. Wow, you've packed a lot in. You must be like 112 or something with all of those things that you've talked about. Um, One of the questions I always ask my guests is around the topic of ideas, and for you, when do you get your best ideas?
Well, so yes, it's either the pressure of meeting a deadline. I guess that's the most effective, effective push in terms of really squeezing out ideas. But I do like getting a dopamine boost from cycling, and whenever I cycle, I just get a clear head, and I just let it brew. Um, in my thoughts while I'm cycling. Also, I sleep on it. And when I wake up, my brain's refreshed. I feel that it's the time when I'm groggy, like getting up, that I have the best ideas.
Yeah.
And also doing like repetitive tasks such as folding the laundry that I've kept in the chair for weeks or peeling a batch of potatoes. It's more of having to do with, like my hands doing something,
Yeah.
but at the same time thinking of something else. So kind of strange, but it works.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you. When we used to when I used to previously run a lab and do innovation sessions, the worst thing was when you just say to someone, "Okay, who's got an idea?" and then it's just silence, right? But that act of actually
Exactly.
doing something with your hands. So we used to use things like Lego and say, "Okay, use the Lego to kind of, just play with the Lego, use it to kind of describe, what your job role is, or an activity that you do." That's kind of a how you get the brain kind of connecting. But I totally with you with the ironing. It's when I'm doing my shirts where I sometimes some crazy ideas as well. So totally with you. And Caesar's got a little tip for us as well. So like yourself, it's when he's on his bike. So good to kind of hear. So let's kind of talk about the idea that you submitted to the Idealab. And here again, if you're new to the stream, this is we wanted to make the whole process of fun and stage appropriate. So the first stage we have a newspaper front page. We call it the Nobody Post, and it's a simple template where you can just talk about, well, what's that frustrating thing, or where's that sort of aha moment where you're like, okay, I see this problem, no one's really solved it, and then sort of explaining what your idea is. So let's dive straight in and talk about the idea that you submitted. So let's just jump and have a little look at this. So here we go. Fly fluence, if I've pronounced that correctly. Um, Tell me more. What was the inspiration for this, Ria? And are you like a global traveler?
Yeah, well, I guess just a bit of background how this idea came about. So this was a product of one of our Octopus Movement workshops, where which you facilitated, and I thought that the timing was really short. It was 15 minutes to come up with something. And at that time, I was preparing for a trip from Manila to Amsterdam, which is like 22 hours
Wow.
in total. And I thought, like everybody's had a fair share of good and bad experiences in terms of flying. And it was more of a wishful thinking on my end that, you know, um, airport situations have always been stressful, queuing up, eating by yourself,
Yeah.
trying to find your gate. Um, so I thought, if I'm just with someone who I can connect with and have meaningful engagement with, then maybe that makes the trip even better. So yeah, so it was more of a wishful thinking, and for sure there would be other people who are feeling the same way in the same situation and hoping for some human connection as well without um, like looking creepy or
Yeah.
and especially for introverts, it's very hard to just approach someone and do some small talk. So I thought, yeah, maybe with a bit of technology as a catalyst, some networking could work in an airplane setting. So I thought of the Fly Fluence, which is more of like when you book your flights, you select your seat, you choose either window or aisle,
Yeah.
near the lavatory or not,
Yeah.
front or back. But what if you can actually select seats also based on the people who are next to you? So the concept could be more of, like it could be connected to either Facebook or LinkedIn, or come up with your own profile if you opt to with whatever information you want to be um, on public.
Yeah.
And it's for other people to also check out, like, I could use some inspiration from this person who has traveled to to where I'm going to. Maybe I could get tips or similar interests, similar or along the lines of business mentoring or networking level. So yeah, so that's basically the idea. It could be, either through the airline itself or a third party application. And this week I was looking at like just something along the lines of that concept, and I found out that Delta actually had something similar before, which is the Delta Innovation Class,
Right.
where they would feature like a prominent person, like a TEDx speaker, a tech guru, an innovation person, and for other people to apply to sit next to them on a business class flight.
Right.
So I haven't been seeing it around. Like the last I've seen was a post from 2016. So yeah, I don't know what happened to that. But I thought it's interesting, and there's been really, I guess, thoughts of people that, well, what would you do with 22 hours? I mean, might as well do something more productive or more fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, turns out there's also one which is by KLM. So KLM Meet and Seat, which is also along the lines of the similar concept which I just pitched. So they did a pilot like from Amsterdam to San Francisco, and then it didn't fly.
Oh no.
So I don't know what happened with that as well, but I messaged KLM and they've stopped the service already. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Going back to what you're saying about you can sit next to a TEDx speaker or whatever. I mean that's great, but it's quite nice just to talk to regular humans as well, right? And why not have, like you're suggesting, and maybe that is where you start with the idea. You kind of say, okay, let's focus it more on business class as opposed to across the whole kind of plane. But you never quite know, and I totally relate. So one of the roles I had when I was working for a large consulting company was I was doing forensic investigations around the world. So the phone would ring and it's like, come on, Min, we've got a big one in Kazakhstan, off you go. And that would be that. And literally, like, every week I would be sort of going somewhere. And there was one project I had, which was supposed to be for 2 or 3 weeks in Switzerland. And super exciting. It's like, yes, we're fighting fraud and crime, and I get to go to Switzerland. I've seen the movies, the Bollywood movies, and Switzerland always looks majestic with its hills and its Alps. And it was supposed to be for, initially I thought it was going to be for sort of 2 or 3 weeks before I came back to London, and it ended up, that project got bigger and bigger, and I was literally going there for 12 months every week, Monday to Friday. I think by the end of it I could have flown that plane myself. But imagine what I could have done with all of those, 1 hour 20 or whatever that journey was, probably longer, I can't remember, and actually use that time to network with someone every time I was on there, right? To kind of, have better conversations, because trust me, I'd already watched all the in-house like movies and documentaries and things like that as well. So yeah, no, super idea. I mean, have you thought about, for this idea, what kind of technology might be involved in kind of bringing it to life? How could you make the algorithms smart? What would you be looking for when someone was doing a match for what you're looking for?
Yeah, well, I guess I'm more into the geolocation.
Yeah,
So more of like really something localized, such that instead of just, like relying on sitting next to the person, maybe you can also interact with people in the same flight and, be able to message them, be able to find them, that and discover that you're going on the same flight, and maybe you could, catch a coffee before the flight or share a cab after.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, there definitely would be other cool features that can be integrated.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it doesn't just have to finish just for that plane journey, right? It can lead to business opportunities and whatever you want it to be. Yeah, Yeah, super interesting. So let's talk about the process. So you submitted this idea, and then what we do internally, me and Kiara, my partner in crime, who helps me with the Idealab, we kind of review all the ideas that come in, and we're getting a flurry of these every week now. And we'll basically independently kind of look at each idea, and we kind of, we'll say, okay, is this a yay or nay? And then we get together and we'll kind of, okay, what did you think of it, etc. And then based on what we kind of the sorts of companies we're looking to build at the studio, we'll be like, okay, this one's an interesting one, let's take it to the next stage, which we actually did with this idea for you. So the second stage of the ideation process is, let's bring it to life, because obviously it's helpful in having a short couple of sentences to describe the idea, but that's all you can do. You can't really kind of encapsulate everything that you probably want to say with it. And you may have seen through previous live streams that we've created a fun way of creating videos to bring that idea to life. And if you haven't, then check them out on previous LinkedIn or YouTube on our Nobody Studios channel, and you'll see them there. So you kindly created a video for us to bring us to life. So I think it's time to share that with our audience. We're getting some great feedback from the people listening in, Ria. So thank you, Paul. You're liking Ria's idea, and also Jason, thank you, and another one here. So I think you could be onto something here. So let's see. And before we show the video, tell me about your thought process when you were creating this video and how you put it together.
Oh, well, as you suggested, I leveraged all the AI tools I could get. Unfortunately, I went to Chat GPT and it's their overcapacity.
They are.
But I used a different AI writer to actually help me improve the video copy. So that's cool. And I also used your suggestion of the VidIO, which is great. And especially also the text to speech, which saves me the hassle of doing a voiceover. So, yeah.
Okay, without further ado, let's see if we can bring your video on the screen.
Excite you? Tired of making small talk with your random seatmate on a flight? Now, you can choose a seatmate on a plane with similar interests hassle-free. Make valuable connections, explore new possibilities for networking, and just pretty much have a more interesting time in the skies. Perhaps you are looking to chat with a local of the place you are visiting. Or you wanted to know more about humanitarian life from a field worker. Are you looking to meet a fellow digital nomad, or to collaborate with an artist? Or maybe just someone to talk nerdy about Dungeons and Dragons or comic books? Imagine a journey where you can always have interesting conversations when you fly. With Flyfluence, you can set up a profile and filter available airline seats next to people who are open to network and with the same interests as yours. Unlock amazing opportunities and transition from a bored flyer to an engaged traveler. Flyfluence, a journey like no other.
There we go. Wow. That is awesome. And look at that. You've even come up with a logo for it.
Thanks again, AI.
That's great. And look at this. We're always learning. So thank you, LinkedIn user, whoever you are. So okay. So we can use the Edge browser to kind of get a bit more priority.
Oh, thanks for that tip.
If it isn't already, it's being incorporated into Bing, which I guess is the Edge browser, right? Or is that different? But yeah, I think there's a few other options coming that we can actually look at. And another piece of kind feedback from Paul. Thank you, Paul. Super slick, I thought, as well. How long did that take you? Yeah.
Well, thank you, Pexels, for the Creative Commons videos. So those are just videos that I took from Pexels and just put them all together. Add the text to speech, some background, and that's it. Probably 2 hours.
Yeah. So we have like a whole stream of kind of comments now. So brainstorming for us to do. So Manoj, thank you for your question. What to do if the person is not at all as mentioned in the profile? So, and then you've got that 13-hour flight from Manila to Amsterdam. Then what happens there? I guess that's a smart thing for. Yeah. Oh, all of a sudden I'm not feeling so well. I need to kind of have a little sleep or whatever.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, but I guess it can be resolved similar to the dating apps where, like people just make fake profiles, but you could have your profile verified as well.
Yeah.
With submitting your ID and having a selfie of yourself. And for sure, like the verified profiles are, like the real legit ones. So maybe it can be, that's some workaround in terms of that dilemma.
Yeah. Or you could always kind of have a pre-chat, right, beforehand, just like
Oh, yeah, that's true.
or something like that. And then you can both anonymously say, yeah, I'm happy to kind of, chat with this person the next time we're on the same flight or something, or yeah, not for me. And actually someone else has kind of commented to say, maybe there's an idea in doing exactly the opposite of what we're suggesting.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Book a
Yeah.
seat next to someone who doesn't want to speak to their seat neighbor at all. Yes, for sure. Like there's a silence section, kind of like in the other train
Quiet carriage,
cabins.
yeah, the train. Yeah. So there's that. And again, Paul has helpfully got a suggestion. Yeah, just put your headphones on. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's for people who opt in the service. So
Yeah.
not everybody would be keen to this for sure, but probably there'd be a section where, like people who are really on the lookout for some human connection, 35,000 feet above, then
Exactly.
maybe it's something to try.
Yeah. No, totally. I think there's lots in your idea, and loving the comments that everyone's putting as well. This is the whole idea behind the studio and the power of the crowd, because we want people to kind of either like you have come up with that initial idea, or there might be people like, yeah, I'm not really good at ideas, but I can look at something and kind of add value and chime in to say, oh, have we thought about this? Or no, don't do that. This company here has already been doing it for 20 years and they spent $1 billion on it. So perhaps think of something else. And that's what we're really about in the studio. It's like the power of the crowd, all the brains together,
Yes.
and then kind of, iterating and seeing what works, and, where we actually create the 100, companies that we want to do in 5 years.
Wow. And definitely like this unpolished, unrefined idea would have a lot of pivots from everyone's input, and that's going to make it so much better.
Yeah, no, totally. So again, what happens in our process, and we're going to have live streams talking more about moving from our idea phase to our concept phase, and that's very much about market testing and having some hypotheses and then going out there and saying, okay, so for your idea, maybe it's like we use it for particular types of classes of flights, or length of flights or something like that, or target a particular demographic, and we can just test it and say, okay, how did that work? Who signed up, etc. Before you do the big sort of optimize and launch of the idea and the company. So makes it super exciting. But look at that, like 23 minutes already, and I think that's probably our time. We have one more comment from Manoj that I think we should show before we kind of close this out. Many flights have screens on the backside. Maybe add feature to chat with fellow passengers through chat. Oh my God, that is genius, Manoj. So that even gives you a better excuse. You don't even have to sit to them, put your headphones on, and it's just like being on Zoom.
That's right.
Because that technology is available right now. I know you can sort of, chat to people and you just type in their seat number, right? And do that.
Yeah, probably more interesting than getting Wi-Fi on the flight.
So you could actually then say, well, I've got 13 hours. Maybe I'll do like 5 calls with people that mix my, have a similar sort of profile to me. And then based on that, you can say, okay, I really enjoyed the chats with, number 2 and 4, let's have their details, and perhaps we can we can sort of follow up with them afterwards.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, no, super. So if you've enjoyed, our show today, and you'd like to be a nobody, like myself, get involved with ideas and helping us to create the ideas and build the companies and scale the companies, then get involved. We've got a crowdfunding program going on at the moment. You can find more details at republic.com/nobodystudios. We're going great guns. We just day before, passed the $500,000 mark. So we're totally on our way, and more and more people are hearing about our audacious goal and mission, and want to get involved. We're doing something different, but mostly it's all about giving the opportunity to people who otherwise wouldn't get a chance for their voice to be heard, to be a part of something special. So thank you so much, Ria, for being my guest today on my little live stream.
Thank you, Min. It's my pleasure.
And let's keep talking. Let's kind of see where we get to with this idea. And I'd love to have you on, and we can share some of the other ideas that you've submitted to the Idealab in the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. My ADHD brain wants to submit 10 more ideas to you.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's my quota sorted then for the week. So please do. Thank you very much.
All right.
See you
Thanks,
now.
Min. Okay.